The rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows like 1,000 accusations, each drop echoing the fury in Alexander Hale's chest as he stormed into the nursery, his polished loafers leaving wet footprints on the Persian rug. "You're done," he snarled at the trembling woman in the corner, her apron still dusted with flour from the failed attempt at pancakes that had set off the smoke alarm and woken his son from a rare, peaceful sleep. In 2 months, 10 nannies had crumbled under his unyielding gaze, their dreams of steady paychecks shattered by a man whose heart had turned to granite after burying his wife, leaving little Theo as the only fragile piece left to protect, even if it meant burning bridges with anyone who dared get too close. Alexander scooped up Theo, the boy's small arms wrapping around his neck like a lifeline, his whimpers cutting deeper than any boardroom betrayal. "Daddy, why does everyone leave?" Theo whispered, his voice a dagger twisting in the void where love used to live. As the elevator doors closed on the latest casualty, Alexander vowed this was the last time. No more chances, no more strangers invading their fortress of grief, until the agency's frantic call the next morning thrust Javier Ruiz into their world. A 30-year-old artist from the sun-baked streets of Miami, now chasing stability in Seattle's relentless gray, his warm hazel eyes holding secrets that could either heal or destroy them all. Javier stepped off the ferry from Bainbridge Island, the salty wind whipping through his cropped black hair, carrying the faint scent of pine from the evergreens lining the sound. He traded palm trees for evergreens on a whim, fleeing the humid chaos of family expectations back home, his abuela's endless questions about when you'll settle with a nice girl, oblivious to the truths he'd buried deep. At 30, Javier was a freelance illustrator scraping by on commissions, his portfolio filled with vibrant murals of hidden lovers under neon skies. But rent didn't care about metaphors. The nanny gig was a Hail Mary. $5,000 a week to wrangle a grieving kid in a penthouse that screamed old money and fresh wounds. He'd read the file. Alexander Hale, 38, tech mogul whose empire of AI-driven logistics had minted him billions, widowed 2 years ago in a car crash that tabloids still whispered about. The son? Theo, 6 years old. Selective mute spells triggered by loss. 10 nannies fired, each one a cautionary tale of crossed boundaries or botched routines. Javier's stomach nodded as the elevator hummed upward to the 52nd floor, but he squared his shoulders, reminding himself. Art was about seeing the unseen, and maybe this family needed a canvas, not a checklist. The doors slid open to a foyer of marble and minimalism, Theo peeking from behind a leather armchair like a fawn in headlights. Alexander loomed in the doorway, arms crossed over a crisp white shirt rolled to his elbows, revealing forearms corded with tension. "Mr. Ruiz," he said, voice like polished steel. "If you're expecting a warm welcome, you've got the wrong address. Theo needs structure, not stories. One wrong move and you're out." Javier met those icy blue eyes without flinching, a soft smile breaking through like sunlight piercing clouds. "Mr. Hale, structure's my middle name. But kids like Theo, they bloom with a little color, not just lines." He knelt to Theo's level, pulling a small sketchpad from his messenger bag, a worn leather thing etched with faint doodles. "Hey buddy, I'm Javier. Want to draw a dragon that guards the rain away?" Theo's fingers twitched, curiosity flickering in his wide brown eyes, a mirror of his late mother's warmth. Alexander watched, jaw clenched, as Theo hesitantly took the pencil, scribbling a jagged beast with flames that looked suspiciously like Seattle's jagged skyline. For the first time in weeks, no tantrum erupted, no silence swallowed the room. But as Javier's laughter filled the air, rich, unforced, Alexander felt an unwelcome stir, a crack in his armor he couldn't afford. By evening, the penthouse felt less like a mausoleum. Javier whipped up empanadas from memory, the kitchen alive with sizzle and spice. Theo perched on a stool, helping by pinching dough into lopsided stars. Alexander lingered in the doorway, tie loosened, the scent of cumin pulling him in despite himself. "You don't have to cook," he muttered, but his eyes betrayed hunger, not just for food. "It's no trouble," Javier replied, plating a steaming portion with a wink at Theo. "Food's like art, Mr. Hale, feeds the soul." Theo giggled, a sound so rare it hung in the air like magic, and shoveled a bite, sauce smearing his chin. Alexander sat, fork piercing the flaky crust, flavors exploding. Savory beef, hints of olive from his abuela's recipe. For a moment, the rain outside faded, replaced by this improbable warmth. But warmth bred vulnerability, and Alexander's walls were battle-tested. That night, as Theo drifted off clutching his dragon drawing, Javier lingered in the hallway, wiping his hands on a dish towel. "He's a tough critic, your boy," Javier said softly. "But I see him, the spark under the quiet." Alexander's gaze hardened. "You see what you want to see. People always do. They come for the paycheck, stay for the story, leave when it gets real." His voice cracked, just a hair, memories of Elena's laughter echoing in the empty spaces. Javier stepped closer, not invading, but present. I'm not here for a story, Alex. Can I call you that? I'm here because I know what it's like to lose your voice in the noise. Grew up dodging questions I couldn't answer, hiding pieces of myself. His eyes held steady, a quiet confession unspoken. The air thickened, charged with unspoken histories. Alexander turned away, heart pounding against ribs he'd armored for years. Good night, Mr. Ruiz. But as he retreated to his study, the name lingered, Alex, like a key turning in a long-locked door. Days blurred into a rhythm Javier coaxed into being. Mornings of finger paints on butcher paper, Theo's muteness giving way to whispers about the dragon's cave under the bed. Afternoons at the Seattle Aquarium, where jellyfish drifted like ghosts, and Theo pressed his nose to the glass, murmuring. They float alone, but together they're magic. Javier nodded, sketching the scene on a napkin, his hand brushing Theo's in a moment of pure, unfiltered connection. Alexander observed from afar, his empire demanding faceless video calls from the glass-walled office overlooking Elliott Bay. But cracks formed. A missed meeting to rush home when Theo spiked a fever, Javier's calm voice on the intercom soothing him back from panic. He's okay, Alex. Just a bug. I've got him soup and stories till dawn. That night, Alexander found them in the nursery. Theo curled against Javier's side on the oversized rocker, a battered copy of Where the Wild Things Are Open on his lap. Javier's voice wove the words like a lullaby, low and rhythmic, his free hand absently stroking Theo's curls. The sight hit Alexander like a rogue wave. Jealousy, not of the bond, but of the ease Javier brought, the way he filled voids Alexander couldn't touch. He cleared his throat, stepping in. You don't have to stay up all night. Javier looked up, eyes soft in the lamplight. Family doesn't punch a clock, does it? Theo stirred, mumbling stay Jay, and Javier's smile was a quiet victory. Alexander sank onto the edge of the bed, exhaustion etching lines deeper. Why do you do this? Nannying isn't your thing. Your sketches scream artist, not au pair. Javier closed the book gently. Because creation isn't just on paper. It's in the mess, the flower on Theo's nose, the way he lights up. And honestly, I needed this. Back in Miami, I was invisible, son of immigrants, chasing dreams that didn't fit the mold. Here with you too, I feel seen. The words hung heavy, mirroring Alexander's own buried truths. Elena had known, in whispers during stolen nights, that his love for her was fierce but his heart held shadows. Desires society labeled wrong, ones he'd suppressed for the life they'd built. Her death hadn't just stolen his partner. It had unearthed those ghosts, making every touch, every kindness, a minefield. I see you too, Alexander admitted, voice rough. More than I should. Javier's breath caught, the room shrinking to the space between them. Theo's even breathing was the only sound, a fragile bridge. Then, a timer buzzed from the kitchen, soup forgotten, and the moment shattered, but not before something ignited, warm and dangerous. Weeks in, the penthouse transformed. Walls splashed with Theo's abstracts, Javier's murals creeping up the hallway like vines reclaiming stone. Mornings started with cafecito, strong and sweet, Javier teaching Theo to foam milk into latte art hearts. Alexander found himself lingering, excuses thin as the steam rising from mugs. One crisp October Saturday, they ventured to Pike Place Market, Theo's hand in Javier's, Alexander trailing with a rare grin. Fishmongers tossed salmon overhead, flowers bloomed in riotous color, and Theo tugged Javier toward a stall of handmade kites. Fly one, Jay. With Daddy. The kite soared against the overcast sky, a burst of red silk dancing on the wind, Theo's laughter pealing like bells. Alexander watched Javier, wind-tousled and alive, and felt the pull, irresistible, inevitable. As they collapsed in a heap on the grass at Olympic Sculpture Park, Theo between them, Javier's knee brushed Alexander's, sending sparks up his spine. That evening, rain lashing the windows again, Theo tucked in early with dreams of kites. Alexander poured scotch in the study, Javier joining with a beer from the fridge. Familiar now, uninvited but welcome. Today's the first time I've seen him run like that, Alexander said, clinking glasses. Since her. Javier nodded, shadows playing on his face. Grief's a thief, but joy's a reclaimant. You deserve both, Alex. The scotch burned, loosening tongues. Story spilled. Javier's first crush on a boy in high school art class. The sting of rejection. The closet he'd built brick by brick. Alexander listened, then confessed his own. Nights with Elena where love intertwined with unspoken yearnings. Her acceptance a bomb he'd lost. I thought burying it with her would keep Theo safe. But you make me want to dig it up. Javier's hand covered his, tentative, electric. Then let's unearth it. Together. Their lips met in the dim glow, tentative at first, then fervent. A dam breaking after years of drought. Alexander's fingers tangled in Javier's hair, tasting salt and sweetness, the world narrowing to the stolen breath. But as they pulled apart, flushed and undone, reality crashed in. Theo's soft cry from down the hall, a nightmare pulling them back to fatherhood before lovers. They parted with a promise unspoken, but the seed was planted, fragile, fierce. As autumn deepened, Seattle's leaves turned fiery under perpetual drizzle, mirroring the blaze kindling in Alexander's chest. Javier's presence wove deeper. Bedtime rituals of bilingual tales, Theo babbling gracias over breakfast, his selective silence fading like morning fog. Alexander's days blurred between code reviews and covert glances, Javier bending to tie Theo's shoes, the curve of his neck exposed, or laughing at a spilled juice catastrophe, eyes crinkling with unfeigned delight. But paradise had thorns. Whispers slithered through Alexander's boardroom. A rival firm's leak about his distraction. Stock dips tied to rumors of instability. Get your house in order, Hale. His CEO warned over encrypted line. Or the wolf circle. Alexander fired back with mergers, but home was the real battlefield. His growing attachment a vulnerability Elena's ghost both blessed and haunted. One evening, Javier arrived with a canvas under arm, unrolled it in the living room. A portrait of Theo as a wild thing, crowned in vines, eyes alight with mischief. For his wall, Javier said, voice shy. Theo squealed, hugging Javier's legs, while Alexander's throat tightened. It's perfect, he murmured, pulling Javier into a shadowed alcove post-bedtime. Their kiss deeper now, hands exploring with urgent whispers. Stay tonight, Alexander breathed against his skin. Javier hesitated, heart hammering. Theo, just us, in my room. The door clicked shut, clothes shedding like old skins. Bodies intertwined on silk sheets, Alexander's strength yielding to Javier's gentle command. Fingers tracing scars of loss, lips mapping paths to forgotten pleasure. It was revelation. Javier's warmth erasing isolation, their rhythms syncing like a shared pulse. Afterward, tangled in sheets, Javier traced Alexander's jaw. This scares me. How much I need this. Alexander pulled him closer. Me too, but it's ours. Dawn brought reality. Theo's patter at the door, innocent eyes peeking. They dressed in haste, Javier slipping into nanny mode seamless as breath. But the secret hummed, electric undercurrents in every glance. Tension crested midweek. Alexander's ex-lawyer, Marcus, a shark-suited relic from the divorce-free marriage days, dropped by unannounced, ostensibly for Theo's trust updates. Eyes scanning like a predator. He cornered Javier in the kitchen. Heard you're the 11th. Hale chews them up, especially the ones who get ideas. The implication slithered, laced with homophobic barbs veiled as concern. Stick to diapering, kid. Ambitions don't mix with his type. Javier's blood boiled, fists clenched under the counter. My job's Theo. But if you mean Alex, he's more than your type. He's human. Marcus chuckled, dismissing him, but the seed of doubt rooted. Was Javier just another fleeting fix for a broken man? That night, Alexander sensed the shift. Javier's touches tentative, laughter forced. Over wine after Theo's lights out, he pressed, What happened? Javier exhaled, confession spilling. Marcus, he implied things. About us. About you using me. Alexander's face darkened, scotch glass slamming down. That bastard. He's from another era. Thinks love's a transaction. He paced, fury masking fear. Is that what you think? That I'm? No. Javier stood, closing the distance. But it made me wonder, if this blows up, where does Theo land? Or me? Alexander cupped his face, thumbs brushing cheeks. It won't. I protect what's mine. Their kiss was fierce, reaffirming, but doubt lingered like fog on the bay. The weekend offered reprieve. A drive to Mount Rainier, Theo's first snow-dusted hike. Javier carried him piggyback through trails carpeted in gold, Alexander snapping photos, their family portrait in pixels. At an alpine cabin rental, isolation bred intimacy. Snowball fights dissolving into laughter, then quiet evenings by the fire. Theo conked out early, and they made love on a bearskin rug, slow and reverent. Javier's moans muffled against Alexander's shoulder. You're my color, Alexander whispered post-climax, Javier's head on his chest, In this gray world. Javier smiled, but vulnerability crept. And you're my anchor. But anchors can chain too. Back in Seattle, the idol fractured. A tabloid vulture, tipped by Marcus's network, splashed a blurry photo online. Javier and Theo at the market, caption screaming, "Hail's mystery man. Nanny or new flame?" Alexander's phone exploded, bored panic. Investor calls laced with slurs. He barricaded the penthouse, firing off cease and desists. But the damage seeped. Theo, overhearing snippets, regressed, curling into silences, clutching Elena's photo like a shield. Javier found him in the nursery, tears streaking. "They hate us, Jay. Because you love Daddy?" Javier's heart shattered, scooping him up. "No, mi amor. They fear what they don't understand. But love, that's the strongest magic." Alexander burst in, face ashen. "We need to talk." To Javier, "This exposure, it's poison. For Theo. For the company." Javier's eyes flashed. "So what? Hide us away like dirty secrets?" "Not hide, protect." But his voice wavered, old fears clawing back. The argument escalated, words like shrapnel. Javier accusing Alexander of cowardice. Alexander retorting with Theo's fragility. "I can't lose him too." Doors slammed. Javier storming to the guest room. Alexander to his study, scotch burning away regret. Morning brought fragile truce. Theo's fever from stress. Javier's cool hands on his brow. Alexander hovering helpless. In the ER waiting room, sterile lights harsh. Alexander gripped Javier's hand under the bench. "I'm sorry. I froze, old habits." Javier squeezed back. "We fight this together. Or not at all." Theo stabilized, a mild virus, but the scare bonded them tighter. Alexander went public in a terse statement. "My family is private. Speculation ends now." Shares dipped, but loyalty surged, employees emailing support, a quiet wave of allies emerging. Yet Marcus lurked, plotting deeper cuts. He unearthed Javier's past. A brief Miami scandal, an ex's false abuse claim dropped for lack of evidence, twisted now into unstable hire, leaked to the press. It hit like a gut punch, Javier's phone ringing with hate, his freelance gigs drying up. Devastated, Javier confronted Alexander in the rain-slicked garage. "This is your world, sharks everywhere. I can't drag Theo down or you." Alexander blocked his path. "Don't. You're not dragging. You're lifting us." Rain soaked them, blurring lines. "Fight with me." Javier's resolve cracked, their embrace desperate under sodium lights, kisses tasting of salt and storm. Winter crept in on Seattle's wings, Christmas lights twinkling against perpetual dusk, but the penthouse felt like a pressure cooker, love simmering beneath threats. Javier threw himself into Theo's world, crafting gingerbread empires that toppled into giggles, teaching him to strum a toy guitar with chords from old Cuban lullabies. Theo blossomed, his chatter filling rooms. "Jay says I'm a wild thing king." Alexander watched, pride swelling, but the noose tightened. Boardroom wolves bayed louder post-leak. "Resign the nanny, Hale," the chairman growled over oak table. "Or we vote no confidence." Alexander's retort was ice. "My home, my rules." But doubt gnawed, nights staring at Elena's portrait, her eyes urging courage he once had. Javier, meanwhile, rebuilt in shadows. Anonymous sketches sold online, each stroke a defiance. But isolation bit. Friends back home texting concern. Abuela calling with veiled worry. "Mijo, come home. That city eats dreamers." He ached for roots, yet leaving meant shattering Theo's trust, Alexander's fragile thaw. A turning point came mid-December. Theo's school play, a chaotic nutcracker where he landed the role of Fritz, beaming under stage lights. Javier sewed his costume, a velvet jacket with embroidered stars, while Alexander cleared his calendar, suits be damned. Backstage, nerves jangling, Theo clung to Javier. "What if I forget?" "You won't, Ray. Channel the wild things." A quick hug, then Alexander's turn. "Daddy's proud no matter." The curtain rose, Theo nailing lines with a shy grin, the audience erupting. Post-show, in the crowded lobby, a photographer flashed, tabloid scum, capturing Alexander's arm around Javier's waist in congratulations. The photo went viral by morning. Hale's holiday heartthrob? Support poured in, LGBTQ+ forums hailing a billionaire coming out. But backlash roared. Investor pullouts, hate mail flooding Alexander's inbox with slurs carving old wounds. He called an emergency board meet, Javier pacing the penthouse with Theo at school. "I'm done hiding," Alexander declared, voice steady for the first time. "Javier's family. Deal with it or find a new CEO." Silence. Then nods, loyalty trumping prejudice. Shares rebounding on the humanizing wave. Home, Javier waited, eyes wary. What did they say? Alexander pulled him close. They stay. We stay. Their kiss sealed it, passionate against the tree's glow, Theo's ornaments twinkling like witnesses. But Marcus, ever the viper, struck from the underbelly. Anonymous email to Javier. Attachments of forged docs, proving Alexander's infidelity pre-Elena, twisted to paint him as predator. Walk away, or this buries him. And your green card dreams. Javier's visa teetered on renewal. Exposure could torpedo it. Panic clawed. He confronted Alexander that night, papers trembling in hand. It's lies, right? Alexander scanned, face paling. Marcus. God, Javier, it's bullshit. Elena knew everything. Flashbacks spilled. Their open talks, her bisexuality weaving their bond. No secrets till death. But if it leaks, Javier's voice broke. Theo sees his dad as monster. And me, deported, back to square one. Alexander's grip tightened. We lawyer up, sue the hell out of him. Yet fear festered. Javier withdrew, touches cooling. Nights on the couch with Theo's stories as shield. Alexander pleaded. Don't let him win. This is our life. Javier's eyes glistened. It is. But what if loving you costs us everything? New Year's Eve dawned brittle. They rang in the year at a low-key gala. Theo in tiny tucks. Javier's hand in Alexander's under the table, defiant sparkles. Fireworks burst over the Space Needle, but Marcus's shadow loomed. A summons delivered mid-toast, defamation suit against Alexander for endangering Theo with immoral influences. Rage ignited. Alexander hired the fiercest firm, countersuit loading like ammunition. But the toll mounted. Theo's nightmares returning. Whispers of bad men, from playground echoes. Javier, racked, confessed over midnight cocoa. I love you both, but maybe I should go. Protect you from me. Alexander's heart fractured. No, you're the glue. He knelt before Theo, then Javier. Marry me, not for show for us. Make it legal, unbreakable. Javier froze, tears spilling. Alex. Yes? Theo chirped, hugging them both. Jay's our wild thing forever. Laughter broke tension. Javier's, see, a vow in the candlelight. January brought battles. Depositions where Marcus sneered. Playing house with the help? Pathetic. Javier testified calm. His sketches submitted as evidence of healing, not harm. Alexander's team dismantled the forgeries, exposing Marcus's embezzlement trail. Victory edged closer, but personal storms raged. Javier's visa hearing loomed. ICE agent grilling his intent amid the scandal. Family ties? The suit asked coldly. Javier met Alexander's gaze across the room, Theo coloring dragons nearby. Building them, every day. Approval came narrow, but it came. Relief crashed like waves, celebrated in a quiet beach walk at Alki. Theo splashing, hands joined, rings glinting prototypes from a discreet jeweler. Yet climax brewed. Marcus, cornered, kidnapped leverage. Theo, snatched from school in a brazen ploy. Ransom demand for dropped suits. Panic detonated. Alexander's empire mobilized, Javier's instincts screaming. They traced the van to an abandoned warehouse in Tacoma. Rain sheeting down. Alexander kicked in the door, Javier behind, heart's thunder. Theo huddled in chains, eyes wide but unbroken. Daddy! Jay! Marcus lunged, gun wild, desperation's madness. Javier tackled, wrestling the weapon, Alexander freeing Theo. Shots cracked, grazing, chaos, but feds swarmed, tipped by Alexander's tech trace. Marcus cuffed, snarling defeat. Theo clung, safe. In the aftermath, hospital vigil. Theo bandaged but bouncing, Javier's arm in sling, Alexander's resolve steel. We're unbreakable now. Spring thawed Seattle's chill, cherry blossoms unfurling like tentative promises along the waterfront. The wedding brewed quiet. A courthouse affair turned garden vow under magnolia trees at the Arboretum, Theo ringbearer in a crown of daisies. Javier in linen suit, Alexander in tailored gray, eyes locked as they exchanged bands engraved with wild things. I vow to see you, all of you, Alexander murmured, voice thick. Javier's reply, and color your world, every shade. Theo cheered, tossing petals, Abuela video calling from Miami with tears. Mi familia, at last. The reception, empanadas and craft IPAs at a rooftop overlooking the sound, toasts from allies, board members clapping Javier's back, a queer artist collective gifting murals for the nursery. Honeymoon whispered domestic. A cabin in the Olympics. Theo's first, daddy's trip. Trails wound through fern-choked forests. Javier sketching ferns with Theo's input. Dragons hiding in fronds. Nights, Alexander and Javier stole moments by the fire. Bodies rediscovering in starlit quiet. This is home, Javier breathed. Alexander's lips on his collarbone. You are. But scars lingered. Theo's therapy unpacked kidnapping trauma. Play sessions with clay monsters crushed underfoot. Alexander's empire stabilized. But trust audits revealed Marcus's moles. Clean house, new guards. Javier's art surged. A gallery show of hidden families. Portraits of Theo and Alex woven with queer icons. Selling out to thunderous acclaim. Yet undercurrents stirred. Alexander's bisexuality, once shadow, drew media hounds. Interviews probing journey to authenticity. He leaned on Javier, rehearsals in the mirror. It's not a phase. It's me, loving fully. The cover of Out magazine followed. Them three on the steps of their rebuilt life. Caption Billionaire's true empire. Love. Backlash bit. Pickets at Hale Tech. Boycotts from conservative pockets. One night, eggs splattered the lobby glass. Slurs scrawled. Theo woke screaming, burrowing between them. Javier held him, whispering Spanish comforts. Alexander's arms encircling both. Fortress of flesh. We face it, Alexander said, dawn pale. Together. Javier nodded, resolve hardening. His next piece. A public installation at the market. Interactive mural where strangers added strokes to a family tree. Branches for hidden loves. Roots for resilience. Theo's handprint first, then Alex's, Javier's last. Crowds gathered. Colors blooming. Media spinning positive. Summer solstice brought peak. A beach day at Golden Gardens. Theo building sandcastles with moats for dragons. Alexander proposed expansions, not business but family. Adoption papers for Javier, formalizing bonds. You're his dad. Full stop. Javier's yes dissolved in waves. Salt on lips as they kissed. Theo oblivious splashing. But fate tested. Javier's abuela fell ill. Pneumonia in Miami's heat. He flew south, Alexander and Theo joining mid-trial. Hospital waits blurred days. Abuela's bed a shrine of rosaries. Her frail hand in Javier's. You found your light, mijo? She rasped. Eyes on Alexander cradling Theo. Don't dim it. She passed gentle. Legacy in stories swapped over cafecito wakes. Javier grieved raw. Alexander's strength anchor. Nights holding him through sobs. Theo's hugs small bombs. We carry her. Alexander vowed at the graveside, under palms swaying like old friends. Return to Seattle healed slow. Javier channeling loss into a tribute mural. Abuela as fierce matriarch guarding wild things. Gallery hummed. Sales funding scholarships for queer immigrant artists. Value human, ripples wide. Fall circled back. Theo's 7th birthday a milestone. Party at the aquarium. Jellyfish glowing like lanterns. Friends mingled, diverse tapestry. Theo's classmates, Javier's art circle, Alexander's vetted execs. Cake smeared, laughter echoed, but a gift shadowed. A letter from Marcus, prison-bound, apology scrawled bitter. You won, but love like yours? It breaks worlds. Alexander burned it, ashes in the sink. He breaks nothing. That night, post-party haze, they tucked Theo in, his room a gallery of growth. Murals climbing walls, Elena's photo beside new family snaps. In their bed, Javier traced Alexander's ring. We've built this from ashes. Alexander kissed his temple. And it'll endure. Yet one storm lingered. Theo's questions blooming. Over pancakes, syrup sticky. Why do some people hate our family? Javier paused. Alexander's hand under table steadying. Fear, tesoro, of different. But we choose love. It's the bravest different. Theo nodded sage. Like dragons guarding hearts. Winter's cusp. Holidays loomed joyful now. Tree trimming with ornaments Theo crafted. Javier's strings of papal picado fluttering. A quiet night. Snow rare and soft. They bundled to the balcony. Theo between. Hot cocoa steaming. Alexander pulled Javier close. 1 year ago I was firing ghosts. Now, alive. Javier's smile warmed the flurry. You changed my world too. From lines to colors. Theo yawned. Best daddies ever. Sleep claimed him on the chaise. Them watching flakes dance. Family forged in fire, unbreakable. But endurance demanded vigilance. New Year's dawned with a corporate raider's bid. Vulture funds smelling blood from past scandals. Proxies whispering, destabilize the personal, conquer the professional. Alexander fortified. Alliances with progressive investors. A diversity initiative spotlighting Javier's art in Hale lobbies. Turn weakness to weapon, he told Javier over strategy sessions. Maps of mergers strewn like battle plans. Javier dove in, his illustrations branding the campaign, queer families as innovation's core. Art sells souls, he quipped, but nights, doubts surfaced. Am I just your muse now? Or a partner? Alexander pulled him onto the desk, papers scattering. Partner in all boardroom battles. Their lovemaking was urgent, reclaiming agency. Javier's cries echoing off glass walls overlooking the lit city. Theo, oblivious, thrived. School plays to soccer, his voice bold. But echoes lingered. A bully's taunt at recess. Your dad's got two? Theo punched back, suspension looming. Pickup, principal's office stern. We support inclusivity, but violence. Javier mediated calm. Alexander's checkbook hovering unspoken. Home, Theo defiant. He said wrong things. Pride swelled, but lesson loomed. Family meeting over ice cream. Words hurt, but fists heal nothing. Use your art, your words. Like Jay. Theo nodded, sketching a sorry card with dragons apologizing. The card went viral. Teacher shared. Media lapped. Hale Air's heartfelt apology. Goodwill surged. Raider bid faltering. Yet personal tempests brewed. Javier's ex from Miami resurfaced. Diego, charming sculptor, emailing missed you. Saw the news. Proud, but curious. Innocent. Or ploy. Javier deleted, but unease festered, confessed over wine. He left when it got real. My coming out. Alexander's jealousy flickered. Quelled. You're mine now, but if he threatens. No threat. But Diego persisted. Calls to the landline. Theo answering once. Uncle Jay's busy with daddies. Laughter, but seed planted. Climax ignited April. Raiders gala infiltration. Diego there as +1 to a exec. Schmoozing Javier publicly. Looking good, amor. Billionaire suits you. Flirtatious lean, hand on arm, cameras caught it. Tabloids twisted. Hale marriage cracks? Ex-lover spotted. Alexander's fury boiled at homecoming. Javier defensive. It was nothing. He cornered me. Looked cozy. Words slipped, insecurity raw. Argument exploded. Accusations flying. Javier naive. Alexander controlling. Doors slammed. Javier to studio. Paints slashing canvas in rage. Blacks and reds bleeding. Theo, ears pricked, slipped in. Don't fight. Like mommy's stories, heroes fix. Javier hugged him tight. Tears hot. We will, champ. Reconciliation brewed dawn. Alexander at the door, coffee and canvas in hand. I saw red, fear of losing you. Javier softened, pulling him in. Diego's past. Your future. They mended slow. Couples therapy with a queer counselor, unpacking closets and crashes. Sessions unearthed Alexander's bisexuality shame. Youthful flings hidden. Elena's grace his only mirror. Javier shared immigrant isolation, art as escape. Theo joined one session, drawing our circle. 3 figures linked, unbreakable. Therapist smiled. That's your map. Summer healed. Road trip to Yellowstone. Geysers erupting like emotions purged. Theo chased bison shadows. Javier and Alexander hiked hand in hand. Rings glinting in sun. Nights intense, stars canopy. They made love whispering futures. More kids? Surrogacy dreams. Back, Diego's shadow dissolved. Exposed as raider plant, paid to stir drama. Lawsuit crushed him, apology emailed, ignored. Fall's harvest, Theo's art show at school, his family dragon's centerpiece. Sold to a collector for charity. Alexander's keynote at Pride. Love built my empire, let it build yours. Javier beside, hand in his victory quiet. Winter whispered closure. Anniversary eve, penthouse aglow. Dinner intimate empanadas, Elena's recipe tweaked with Javier's spice. Theo gifted drawings, yawning to bed. Alone, balcony under lights, Alexander knelt anew. Renew vows? Every year, for life. Javier laughed, pulling him up. Daily, amor. Kiss deepened, snowflakes melting on skin, eternal. But life's script twisted unforeseen. Spring's bloom carried a whisper. Javier's fatigue. Chalk to stress till doctors call. Test results stark. Early lymphoma. Caught soon, treatable. World tilted. Alexander's boardroom facade cracking in the sterile consult room. Javier gripped his hand, pale but defiant. We'll fight. Like always. Theo, Shielded at first, sensed shadows. Jay sick? Dragons heal him? They explain gentle, hospital adventures, medicine magic. Chemo started summer, Javier's curls shedding, Alexander shaving solidarity, bald duo, laughing through mirrors. Empire paused. Alexander delegated, home vigils with soups and sketches. Theo's drawings piled, superhero jobs battling beasties. Community rallied, art circle fundraisers, Hale staff meal trains. Pain peaked mid-cycle, nausea racking, doubts creeping. Javier, bedbound, whispered fears. If I don't, promise you'll tell Theo I fought for us. Alexander's tears fell hot. You will. We're your army. Breakthrough glimmered August. Scans clear, remission declared. Celebration quiet, beach picnic, Theo's kite soaring free. Javier, hat hiding regrowth, kissed Alexander salty. Second chance. Grateful. Fall rebuilt. Javier's solo exhibit, resilient roots. Pieces born of battle, greens and golds triumphing grays. Sold record proceeds to cancer queer youth. Theo's 8th birthday anchored joy. Party with Wild Thing masks. Javier unveiling a backyard mural. Dragons guarding their home. Elena woven in stars. Yet growth beckoned deeper. Adoption finalized. Javier's name on papers. Official dad. Court day. Judge warm. Love's the best law. Winter's gift. Pregnancy news. Not theirs, but surrogates. Elena's sister offering. Honoring her. For Theo, a sibling. Ultrasounds mesmerized. Tiny kicks promising. Holidays swelled. Tree with new ornaments. Babies first. Abuela's recipes honored. Toasts to legacies. Spring birth miracle. Baby Lila. Dark curls like Theo's. Eyes hazel as Javier's. Hospital room chaos. Theo cooing. Alexander tearing up. Javier cradling. Our circle grows. Summer's lazy days. Park picnics. Lila's gurgles under shade. Javier sketched family quartet. Alexander's arm around. Complete. Fall's reflection. Therapy circle closed. Counselor nodding. You've alchemized pain to power. Theo, wise beyond. Love wins dragons. Years wove tapestry rich. Lila toddled into mischief. Theo her fierce knight. Dragons drawn for her crib. Javier's gallery thrived. Commissions global. But home anchored. Mornings of bilingual babble. Evenings of stories layered. Alexander evolved. Hale Tech's inclusion arm. Scholarships for LGBTQ plus creators. Board diverse as Seattle's mosaic. Speeches rang authentic. Vulnerability built this. Not vaults. Challenges ebbed. A recession tested. Layoffs navigated fair. Javier's murals in lobbies. Morale's art. Theo's coming out at 14. Crushing on a classmate. Boy with braces and books. Family circle held. Love's wild son. Own it. Javier mentored. Alexander protected. Prom at arm in arm, pride flags waving. Lila's first word. Dada. Both. Giggles ensuing. Her sketches echoed Javier's flair. Gallery mini-shows at 5. Anniversaries marked milestones. 10th. Vow renewal under magnolias. Kids flower tossers. Vows updated. Through cancers and crashes. Wild things endure. Legacy bloomed. Foundation launched. Hale Ruiz Hearts. Support for single parents. Queer families. Marcus's old firm donated. Redemption arc. Theo's graduation. Valedictorian. Speech on hidden colors. Javier's influence woven. College-bound, art major but home always. Lila's bat mitzvah. Blended faiths. Elena's hymns beside Cuban rhythms. Alexander's toast. From fire to family. Gratitude eternal. Empty nest loomed gentle. Theo's dorm. Lila's high school whirl. Javier and Alexander reclaimed nights. Travels to Miami roots, Paris inspirations. Lovemaking seasoned, deeper bodies maps of journeys. Balcony evenings. Wine shared. Fired 10. Found forever. Alexander mused. Javier leaned in. One man changed worlds, ours. Sunset gilds the sound. Their hands linked. Hook to heart, kith to kin. In Seattle's embrace, a billionaire's tale. Not gold, but love's quiet billions. Human value etched eternal.